Welcome to a live episode of Surviving the Survivor. We bring you the best guests in all of true crime. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Joel Waldman.
Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. I am not your host, Joel Waldman. I am the COE. I am filling in for him, sort of. It's not a real show today. It's more of just like a hangout live chat with Gigi. This is Gigi from Pretty Lies and Alibis, who graciously decided to do this last minute with me. Just want to welcome everyone for being here. If you're new, I am not the regular host. I am married to the host, Joel Waldman. And we decided to do something a little bit different today. So welcome. This is going to be quite the adventure. Not sure how long this is going to be, but I just wanted to welcome all of you guys in. If you're just showing up, please remember to hit the like button. You can also subscribe. If you want to chat, I believe you have to subscribe. And again, if you are not already following Pretty Lies and Alibis on YouTube and on Instagram, you should be. Some people don't know me. My name here, it says the COE, the chief of everything. My real name is Ileana, but Joel usually calls me Bugs or the COE. So here on YouTube, I'll go by that name. All right, Gigi, give everyone a 30-second intro about yourself, and then I'll explain why we decided to do this live.
Well, it's the ladies' day. We're taking over, right? Joel's in the bed. We got this covered. So I host Pretty Lies and Alibis, just a fact-based podcast about trials of interest. So come hang out with me. Currently eyeball deep in the Adelson case right now. Just got back from the Murdaugh evidentiary hearing yesterday, which was crazy. Can I just say that was the craziest hearing I've ever sat in my life.
Wait, Gigi, were you there?
I was there, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
it was crazy. I mean, look, when they came in and said the jurors were watching court TV back in the room before they testified, we were like, oh God, they're going to like shut this down. This is a huge deal. It was insane. Just, I mean, I really thought he was going to get a retrial, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. We were watching it live, and we were actually watching it on court TV. So when they announced that, we were like, oh, that can't be good.
Not good at all.
Interesting how that played out, though.
Yeah, I mean, it played out that, you know, as of right now, he gets no new trial, but I bet you they are filing stuff today to take it to a higher court. I mean, a lot of people felt like with that one juror, he should have, and we'll see. We'll see what happens next. But man, what a ride yesterday. My blood pressure was sky high all day. It was just like waiting for the other shoe to drop, you know?
Gigi, I have to interrupt for a second and just give you a complete disclosure here. I've never used StreamYard while live. I also haven't hosted a show in, I don't know, 4 years. Haven't been on air in a long time. So I will give credit to Joel and to you if you use StreamYard on your show for going through the comments. Now I sort of give credit and understand why Joel says the multitasking is not as easy as it looks. So bear with me, everyone. I know some of you guys are giving gifts and super chats. I will get to them eventually, I promise, but I'm a complete amateur, so bear with me.
Can we just talk about, like, first, the beautiful Karma bus rolling up 20 miles from Tallahassee for Charlie's Forever Home?
Of course. And I don't have an image, but I heard that there was a new mugshot out of Charlie.
Let me look for that real quick.
Yeah. If you want to pull that up. Also really quickly, I just want to give a quick shout out to Joel and to Carm. After all, this is their show. And I want to let everyone know that this Sunday, we're going to be having an STS special on Sunday. Usually we obviously don't do shows then, but Carm and Joel are going to be interviewing Mitch Albom. Mitch Albom is the author of the book Tuesdays with Morrie. He's one of the best US authors, or one of the best-selling authors. And he also has a new book, The Little Liar. Mitch Albom met Joel and Carm, or Joel and Carm met Mitch Albom. And it was a really interesting interaction. They're going to talk a little bit about that. They're going to talk about Mitch's book, and then they're also going to be discussing Joel's book as well, because Joel was inspired by Mitch to write his book. So
Tuesdays with Morrie is maybe one of my favorite books ever.
It really is an all-time favorite. I know that we had to read that growing up in high school. I believe it was the 9th or 10th grade.
Yeah. I have his new mugshot. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
He's got a new one. He's got a little bit more of a hard look there.
Okay, Gigi,
here we go. Look
Go
at there.
fast. Hold on, wait. Is it up? All right, here we go.
Um,
Oh, there we go.
Look at that. Boy, he's keeping that close shave, huh? Not gonna let those curly locks grow back out.
Oh, interesting. It's similar to his previous one, but different.
It is a little different. He's
Yeah,
got
I feel his face is hardened already, I feel like.
yeah, he's got that hardened look, man. Look at there, Charlie boy. So, one
Oh,
thing I
that's
was
so
thinking
sweet.
about what I can't wait for Donna's trial is a lot of people think she's gonna have to take the stand, right? I mean, it's just kind of something everybody's assuming. Can you guys imagine when Prosecutor Kappelman starts pushing her buttons? She is gonna blow her top. It's gonna be fireworks.
Well, that's the interesting thing is we've seen her so animated, so emotional, fired up. Obviously, the last time we saw her on air, or we were watching her, she was more subdued. She's obviously now on medication. It was a much different hearing when it was via Zoom. But I think it is going to be interesting to see her when she's in that courtroom, see her reacting now that she's not just giving a reaction, but it's the reality of where this is going to take her life. I mean, this is going to be a life-changing trial. The hearings that are preceding the trial are obviously going to be, I think, only more emotionally intense for her. So it's going to be interesting to see how she reacts, or if she's going to try to go the opposite and try to not react and try to be as stoic as she can be. I don't know if that's
They're gonna have to drug that lady like a
possible.
horse to keep her from reacting, but, I think Kappelman will use that to her advantage too, because the minute Donna blows her top on the stand, it's just gonna make her look bad in front of the jury, and it's gonna support a lot of the, I'm sure the theories that Georgia will present, which is she was so overbearing, she was so controlling and manipulative, and she was sort of the center of all this. I think the prosecution is definitely gonna use that to their, advantage, but I had a listener send me something today. Katie Magbanawa has put an online profile on meetaninmate.com.
Yeah, and so that's why I reached out to Gigi. I immediately texted her and I was like, "Wait, what is going on?" So I'm going to pull it up. I have a screenshot of it. If you want to pull up the actual link, I can do that. Here's the screenshot. All right, so walk me through your thoughts when you opened that link and it took you here.
I'm not surprised. There are a ton of websites that offer this kind of service to inmates where they can have pen pals on the outside and that kind of thing. What's interesting about this, so it costs money to have a profile on this service. For a standard 12-month profile, it's $40. $100 for 12 months, that puts you as a featured profile. Or no,
She's not featured
$70 for
though, is
12
she?
months. What's that?
She's not featured. I
I'm
think
not
she's
sure.
just
I'll
like a
have to look
regular.
into that, but
Okay.
I'm gonna put this up on the screen. These are the prices for this. So yeah, this is a pay service, which is interesting to me. But if you look here, the
Okay, hold on. Wait,
prices for a
let me pull
standard.
that up. Hold on. Here we go.
So the prices for just a standard profile, $40 a year. For a featured is $70 for 12 months, meaning that if you click on it, her profile will be easy to see. But get this, $100 for 12 months, you get featured on meetaninmate.com and jailbabes.com.
Wow.
Jailbabes.
So it's funny because Joel was like, "Wait, is she looking for love? Is she looking for friends? Is she?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
what her intentions are. But going back to this photo here on the right, I mean, that's a very friendly photo, but on the left, it's a very aggressive photo. So I
Yeah.
find it interesting that she decided to choose those very different images to attract, I think, very different people. She does write a little blurb here, so I'm going to pull that up and we can read that. Let me
But she's showing
remove.
off what Charlie helped pay for on that left. I
Oh,
try
yes,
not
she
to
is.
talk
Hold on,
about
let's.
female appearances too much because I don't wanna be that woman, but
I
man, I
know.
mean, she chose a very revealing photo, so I think maybe she's looking for love.
Well, and look, when you look at it very quickly, your eyes are drawn to that image.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
lighting, the angle, your eyes are very much drawn there. Okay, here is what she wrote. Oh my goodness, I'm going blind. All right, she wrote, "Hey y'all," or here, you read it. You read it.
Hey, y'all. My name is Catherine, but everybody calls me Special K or K for short in here. I'm originally from the Philippines, but grew up in the beautiful city of Miami. I love the beach, a big foodie. That is not serving her well in the Florida pokey system, I'll tell you that. Watching movies, gotta love those action packed and chick flick comedies. It can get very hard in here physically and mentally. So I'm ready for some type of entertainment and lots of laughter. Hit me up if you have something interesting to talk about. Until then, live it up like it's your last. Stay blessed. XOXO. Then she has her stats here: date of birth, 12/22/84, 5'2". She got her high school education. Occupation before prison was a bartender. Maximum release date is life. Would you like letters from both sexes? Yes. And this does not refer to sexual orientation. She can receive mail. They use Securus, which we've heard a million times on the Charlie calls. She can respond to email. In prison, her activities are working out and yoga. She didn't answer anything else. So very interesting. Yeah, these websites are out there. You just scroll through, and I guess whatever catches your eye and you want to have a prison pen pal, then you click on it and you pay, I believe, to correspond as well on some of those. It's like the JPay system. You have to pay stamps sometimes. So anytime I inbox my contact in prison, I pay about $1 for each email. And then it's kind of customary to send return postage to whoever you're writing because like I think jail jobs are 2 cents an hour or something. So it'd take you,
Oh, wow.
like a week to be able to send or a month to be able to reply back. So that's kind of how that works. But, there are people out there who love writing inmates. I mean, come on, Alec Murdoch gets these emails. Some of them have been posted. Like, I think about you all the time. And, go figure. I always think of Scott Reich, where he says, your soulmate is not behind bars. You
I mean,
know?
I'm always fascinated by the psychology of it, and I'm interested to see if it's different with women than with men.
Yeah. I
I
would, I think it's probably about the same. I mean, you have men that just, this is a very safe way to have a little relationship, have a little fun back and forth. But I mean, they're behind bars. So it's not like you have to worry about somebody showing up at your door, unless they get paroled or get out or whatever. But no, I mean, this is a very big industry. And if you Google like write a prisoner, there are tons of websites that are just dedicated to that.
and I was looking up some stats. I think a lot of people apply. Only 2% of inmates actually have pen pals, but that's still a lot of people. I mean, that's a lot of people that are writing to someone that they don't know.
Right. And a lot of times you have to pay for these services. So it would depend. Do you have somebody on the outside funding things like this? So, I mean, the least that she paid was, and I want to thank my listener for sending me this. I had no clue. I mean, so at the minimum, she paid $40 to have this profile up to a year. I'm going to take one for the team after we're done and go on jailbabes.com and see if she's there too. Uh, but it does seem like, maybe she wants a little flirty behind bars because, she's not getting out ever. So, I just thought it was interesting. It's one of those things. I did not see any for Sigfredo or Rivera. So maybe I haven't looked in the right place or maybe they just don't have one. But yeah, clearly Katie's on the hunt for some pen pals. You all
Well,
should
it's
write her.
interesting. Once I saw this, and I started googling it, and they do have various organizations. Like there are some that are more on the religious side, if they're trying to reach out to people for X amount of reasons. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anyone else pops up on any of these pen pal sites. But Britt K here is saying, I saw Katie's ad a few months ago somewhere else, so maybe by now she's acquired a few suitors. And then Rachel says, OMG, she's gonna get so many hits. Crazy.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
that picture on her profile, she'll get hits for sure.
Well, Trish Norman here is asking, is this a sneaky way for inmates to communicate with each other? I wonder if, and I don't know if there's even a page there that talks about like the rules and regulations and protocols, but I wonder if they're allowed to reach out to each other or if this is strictly for people outside of the system.
Probably outside, all that's still gonna be monitored by prison staff as far as any communication going in or out. I'm not sure about the rules, with their trials being over. I mean, they were all co-conspirators. Her and Sigfredo were tried together. I've been curious, have her and Sigfredo been in touch at all? Clearly not in a romantic way because she's popping those babies out for a pen pal. But those are things I wanna know. I mean, maybe we should file to try to get, like, her prison letters. You can do that. Florida is very liberal in what they give you. There's not much I've been told no, that I couldn't have, when I've asked for it. So, it'd be interesting to see who's if they are communicating. I'm not sure if it's allowed, but I don't think inmates can communicate with each other, though, for
Yeah,
some
I guess
reason.
yeah, I guess they probably use some kind of system here to make sure it's only people who are out of the system that are reaching out. But I mean, $40 is also a lot of money.
In prison money, yeah, the prison
Yeah.
economy, it's, I mean, you have to have somebody funding it. I mean, there are prisoners who are indigent that have nobody on the outside, so they get their 3 meals a day and no commissary. That's where that whole prison life, "You do a favor, I'll give you some ramen," comes in, which usually doesn't end well because the terms of repayment are not as simple as, "I'll give you a ramen back," or, it could be as simple as doing your laundry or being a drug mule. My contact in prison, I did a whole series on this, kind of a perspective from somebody I know, I've known since childhood, who is in prison for life for murder and, never had stepped foot inside of a police station before that arrest. And so she has given me so much insight into these women in prison, how they operate, and it really just seems like high school with, like, adrenaline.
But
There's a l
and
Go
wait, and
ahead.
Gigi, and in that circumstance, like how is she getting money put on her account? Like what is her game plan to survive?
She has family that puts money on her books, and back when I was doing that series where she was, emailing me constantly the things that I was kinda putting together for the series, that I have 2 series actually from her writings, I would put, $20 on her commissary because, it was stuff that my listeners thoroughly enjoyed, but you have to have somebody on the outside. I mean, and that's the thing with Charlie, you think about it, I don't think Wendy would be funding his commissary at this point. She seems to have sorta just, like, wiped her hands of Donna and Charlie completely. Does Harvey know how to do this? Maybe. Charlie had a little over $100 when he was transferred into the prison system, I saw. So,
Oh,
what's
but
gonna
that's a lot.
happen if, let's just say hypothetically, Wendy and, Harvey get arrested? Maybe Bree, the baby mama, would put some money on the books, but at some point, all that might go away. I mean, if all your family's in the pokey, who you got? Your friends? I mean, what friends? I mean, on the wiretaps, it was, or no, it was June. When she testified, Charlie was saying he had lost all of his friends, like, he had no friends. Even his childhood friends had dumped him. So, yeah, it's cute. I think about stupid stuff like that. I mean, what happens if Harvey and Wendy get arrested? Who's gonna put money on books?
Well, and this is the thing too. I mean, it's also like a timing issue. I mean, at the beginning, for any loved one, a general statement, I'm sure you're trying to help. You want them to feel as comfortable as they can be in an awful situation. But as time goes by, even if you have the means, I mean, I'm sure your feelings change about the situation if they're going to be there for a long time, which these people are. That also changes the situation.
It does, and, like, in Florida, the tablets, as far as I can understand, every inmate in Florida gets a tablet. Now, Charlie, with his switch over to prison, from what I've read, it could take up to a month to get your tablet, so he might be jonesing right now for some phone contact. They do have the kiosks in the prison. He's in that religious prison. It's kinda, religious based. I don't know that he'll get in the dorms right away, but, so it's they do have phones, but then you're limited. So Charlie, very long-winded, a lot of those calls, 45 plus minutes. I think you get 15 minutes, maybe once a day. So I don't know, maybe he's just talking to the wall at this point. But what I did find though is that he is in kind of a protective custody prison. This annex typically houses people that need a little bit more observation due to the nature of their crimes or the notoriety of their cases, which in Charlie's case, he even pointed out an inmate he passed was like, "Oh, you're an Adelson." Charlie was like, "How do you know that?" So I'm just curious how he's faring in there. But that mugshot, man, I'm telling you, he's already got that little hard look.
He does, yeah, he does, and I feel like it definitely has changed from the last mugshot that we saw of him. Um, what about Donna Adelson's activity sheet? I know that you shared them with us. It was like 1,200 pages of everything that she does or doesn't do throughout the day. Was there anything in there that stood out to you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like she was just in her cell. This was when she was in the direct observation. So they checked her about every 15 minutes. A lot of times she was laying on her bunk, asleep, pacing. A few times it said naked. So I don't know if she took off her little smock and made herself naked or what, but for the most part, no. I mean, the biggest thing in there was the spoon gate, where Donna wanted her spoon and made a big deal out of it and wrote grievances apparently. And they were like, "You're in direct observation. You eat with like, I think it's like those wooden spoons you get with the cups of ice cream."
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
but she wanted her spoon. So I thought about like doing an online package for people where you can send things to inmates through websites. And I thought about sending her a box of spoons, just as a welcome to jail gift. Here, you'll never be without a spoon, just sort of as an in your face. But the thing that surprises me the most about Donna, though, is that last Zoom hearing. She looks good, right? I mean,
Well,
I'm
so
no
that
fan.
that's what was interesting, and it's funny because Joel always talks about this. A lot of people say, "Oh, she's so frail, she's much older." She's not as old as everyone says she is. I mean, she's not. I think she looks good too. I think she looks stronger than a lot of people think she is.
Hmm.
She's
Yeah,
Will says it in every podcast. He's like, "She's fit. She does look fit." I feel like she may have been medicated, but I think she's looked the best she's looked probably in that last video.
I think so too. And that was exactly my thought. And sometimes, and I talked about this, I forget where I was, whether it was an episode of mine or somewhere, but sometimes like the anticipation of your arrest, you got to think about it. Dan was killed in 14 in July. The first arrest came in May. So we had the bump in April of 2016. They had less than 2 years of it being pretty quiet without a lot of heat on them. And then the bump happened. And I don't think past that point, any of them really were able to just be comfortable in their own skin. They knew they were on to them. They knew that somebody knew something. And Charlie correctly guessed that this was an FBI agent or a police officer doing this, but still it didn't ease his fears that it could have been the other person. But maybe, just after years of waiting for that to happen, I've talked to a lot of inmates who have had warrants out, and the looking over your shoulder, constantly expecting your door to get busted in. When you do get arrested, even though it's not what you want, it's a bit of a relief that at least that part's over. And maybe she's experiencing that, and maybe I don't know how much medication she was taking. We know that family loves some Xanax, but they don't have that in prison. So, for her, I was really shocked. I expected to see a much more frail Donna, but like you, I think she looks actually better, but it could be that venom in her veins that's keeping her going. She's
A
not the
lot of people,
nicest
a lot of
woman.
comments are saying that the venom,
Yeah,
the,
the venom,
the
okay,
venom and the
yeah.
drugs.
Yeah, it's just
So
interesting. So she's got another hearing, what, just in like a week or a couple of weeks or so? We'll see. That's
I think
another
we're
Zoom
2 weeks
hearing.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I think
another
we're 2
Zoom.
weeks out. And another thing I was thinking about that's interesting is, as we were talking about just a few minutes ago, obviously much more subdued this past hearing. Previously, she was very emotional. When it's time for trial, it'll be interesting to see her reaction if Wendy has to take the stand,
Yeah, that's
or
gonna be a
if
big
Wendy is
one.
there, period. Because it's one thing for her to be reacting constantly without her daughter, but when her daughter is put on the stand to testify against her, I think that could really trigger a lot of emotions for anyone,
I think so too,
especially
because
especially in this case.
and they were such a cohesive unit. They were so fluid together, and now, like with Charlie, you're gonna have, his sister on the stand, and I mean, this is somebody that it's not proven that Wendy was in on it, although we all have our theories, but, I mean, there were times where she said things that I thought was a little bad for Charlie, and so with Donna, that's your daughter, And so it's going to be very different for Wendy, I think, too. I don't think Wendy cares for Charlie that much anymore. It's very clear. But your mother's different. Like, that's who helped take care of these boys, under very crazy circumstances that they produced. But I still think Wendy will save Wendy. Anything she can do. I don't think Donna would ever roll on Wendy just for the simple fact of the boys. I think Donna would have that level of restraint. But looking at Charlie's little hardened mugshot, I think Charlie could get very bitter very quickly in there and say, "Hey, look, I'll talk to you guys." He's never going to get out, no chance of parole, but say, "Hey, look, give me a chance at parole. Maybe I'll tell you what I know." I don't know. I just think if anybody's going to flip, it's going to be Charlie. He's going to picture Wendy in his mind living his best life in South Florida while he's 20 miles from Tallahassee, like, pit stop on the way to civilization forever,
Well,
permanent
and I think
stop.
it'll be interesting because you're right. The dynamic between siblings is very different than a daughter and a mother who were extremely, extremely, extremely close. But it's also the relationship between a mother and her two sons, who now is going to have to decide who she wants to protect. And that is a very, very tricky situation. I don't even want to think about the emotional stress that would cause someone to have to choose, if she does take the stand, having to testify against her mother, but also she has two kids that rely on just her now. But again, they put themselves in this situation.
They did. And I just feel like Donna, yeah, she's just such a quick fuse. And you saw that. And what was funny was at that first hearing where she was so animated, she was, like a catfish with her mouth wide open. When they were alleging things, they weren't even alleging. We heard these on the hot mic call that she said she was going to kill herself. I mean, and then she's like, "What?" She's just flabbergasted. I'm sitting here thinking, maybe she still doesn't know what those calls picked up. I don't know. But it's like, to see somebody act shocked at something we heard with our own ears, it cracked me up. But no, I think trial's going to be very different than hearings, because you're going to have those prosecutors kind of sticking their finger in some wounds and wiggling it around a bit. And they're going to do that to make her blow up, because that benefits them. It shows the jury, this woman's crazy, right? She's not stable. How can we show this jury she's crazy? We tick her off on the stand and get her to lose her marbles, and then job done. It's very easy for the prosecution to do and very detrimental for Donna if she takes that bait. And I think she will. I think that she's just going to probably, like Charlie thinks, Harvey, pack me a suitcase, come get me on the day of verdict, and we'll just go back to Miami and live our life. I really think she's probably in that same mindset.
Well, and we don't even know all the evidence yet. So obviously we know everything we've seen, but there are still so many recordings I'm sure we have not heard.
And not only that, but we've got 2 MacBook Pros, an iPad, and 2 phones. And the woman can't hang up a freaking iPhone call. Tell me she knows how to delete stuff online or her searches. Come on, it's going to be a treasure trove.
Although, Gigi, I have to tell you the funniest thing. Joel and I did an impromptu live the other night. When was that? It was the night that the Dateline special was airing. Long story short, we had all these technical issues. We possibly almost had a YouTube strike. Joel was having a panic attack about a lot of different things. I was trying to just play it cool. We end up doing this really fun impromptu live show with all of our STS Nation members. And at the end, Joel did not end the live stream. The live stream just continues. And I was like, Joel, I'm like, this is a Donna moment. And for a second, I was like, you know what? I'm like, I now can see how people do not hang up or don't end the live stream, and everything is recorded or in front of a live audience. I was laughing so hard. I laughed.
Oh, I did that once on a voicemail. So I was calling somebody and I had opinions about this person. And I was talking to somebody who was with me. And so it went to voicemail. I didn't hit in and proceeded to talk for like 3 minutes about this person, not in a very pleasant way. And they heard it. And I didn't know they heard it until they called and they're like, "Hey, I got a voicemail from you." I'm like, "You did?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, you were calling me a moron." And I was like, "Oh crap." But and the thing too is with Donna and these electronics, it's just the search history went back to 2012, I believe, on those MacBooks. So you're looking at 2 years before the murder. So are we going to start seeing some pre-planning of this hit? If she texted Charlie on her iPad, that's going to be in the cloud. That's going to be iCloud. So I think that maybe aside from everything so far that's brought evidence to this case, like the wiretaps that were pretty much the whole case, other than just the amazing sleuthing by these investigators finding that sun pass and tracking down the car. But I'm telling you, electronics are where it's at in criminal trials today because you can be very tech savvy and think you've deleted stuff, but they could find it. WhatsApp, Signal, all those apps that are end-to-end encrypted. And the investigators in this case have said we just can't recover it. But it's Donna Adelson. She's probably like texting Charlie on her iCloud account, like, yeah, we need to get this done. And if that goes back to 2012, I'm just saying that's going to be a gold mine right there.
Well, and that's the thing too, being her age, regardless of whether they speak in code or not, I'm sure the text messages and the written communication is going to be much clearer than the audio, and the audio was pretty clear.
I think so too, because if you go back to 2012, nothing's happened. Nothing officially has been planned, but you've got the separation and the divorce proceedings during that point. So I think a lot of that could lend a motive if you see Donna, texting Wendy, or we saw the emails, they were bad enough. But can you imagine just off the cuff text messages or iMessages between these people? That's why I'm saying I think that this dump of her electronics might be the biggest, most incriminating stuff of this whole trial potentially. But
Well,
yeah,
well,
yeah, my grandmother's 89 and she can navigate Facebook and Instagram, but like I have to go over sometimes and show her that she has slid her ringer to like the red part, So it's like, and I'm not an ageist, but yeah, I mean, look, I probably wouldn't know how to delete stuff either. Look, if you guys saw my search history, I told my kids, if I ever go missing and they have to like look in my social media or my search histories, please tell them I'm not a freak and tell them what I do for a living. Cause I might Google like stippling gunshot wound examples or, all of our search histories are sketchy. But, when you're looking to hire a hitman, I'd imagine maybe they're a lot more sketchy.
well, and the interesting part about the digital world, whether it's on social media or it's a quick text or it's an emoji or whatever, is that now I feel like we move so quickly digitally, like we react so fast. So sometimes someone will text me something, and before I even say anything, I do these like crazy emojis with like a knife or this or that, whatever. It's like we're so reactionary, and it happens in an instant, and it's like the text was sent, it's done. You can't recover that. So I think if there's anything we could take from her reactions and emotions from her hearing is that she does react. She has big reactions, and I wonder if that translates to the digital side.
I think that's a really, really good point. And you think about it too. We see how they've let their guards down just on jail calls. I think that there's maybe a little layer in her mind of protection of her own electronics. Like maybe you would feel you could be a little more free in what, especially in the earlier days, when things were quiet before the first bump, when they think we've got away with it. What was said during that period? Was it, oh man, this was the best decision we ever made. We got the boys here. It's all sunny in Miami with everything going on in our lives. So I'm curious to see really, even in those quiet moments before that first bump, is there anything in there that references the murder that could implicate Wendy, we know Harvey knows. I mean, we saw the sushi recording where he mentions Katie and he's on board, or at least he knows what is being talked about. But I'm most curious for those less than 2 years after the murder, before that first bump, to see when the guard was completely down, was there anything slipped up in those messages or anything like that? We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Sorry, Gigi, I'm trying to multitask, and I hate to admit this. I'm glad Joel's not watching; he's napping. Pulling up the comments is much harder than I ever thought. I during the shows, I text Joel nonstop. I'm like, you missed this comment, you missed that comment. I'm like, you pulled up the same person's comment 4 times in a row. Speaking of reacting and having big emotions, every show I send Joel like 55 text messages, and now I'm like, I've pulled up 3 comments maybe, but here we have Start DWDP. Gigi and COE, will you go to Donna's trial? We need the inside scoop. I will not, for many
I'm
reasons.
planning on it. Yeah, I hope so. What I do with my donations is I put them in a little savings account. So if equipment breaks or something like that, but and I also have a little travel fund. So if I'm not sent to a trial, I like to have a little money put aside to where if I want to go for a week, I can. Oh yeah, your girl's going to be in that courtroom for sure. Um, and I'll be live tweeting it and all that, as I'm sure they'll allow electronics. But yeah, oh yeah, I'm going because I only got into this case about 6 weeks ago, and I had people
And
over.
you dived into it very, very quickly. I mean, you did a phenomenal job laying out the facts and then getting all of those recordings and presenting them.
Tell Joel not to
Joel,
walk out in his
Joel,
boxers
I'm
because we're
live.
live. We're gonna see Joel like we've never seen Joel before.
I'm like, wait, I don't know
Joel will
what
be
you're
getting
saying.
letters from ladies too if he comes out in his whitey tighty. So
Let me just
he's
move
just
the
gonna come
entire
out here all a mess,
sofa.
totally unaware of the fact that his wife is live.
I'm
Oh
live
my
on your
gosh, that could
show,
be funny.
FYI. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big trial. There's I got a big jump in subscribers after the Dateline aired. So I watched with my grandma, and I've tried to explain this case, but I may as well be trying to explain like quantum physics to her when I'm trying to explain such a convoluted case. And then she watched Dateline, and she just, her comments are great when we're watching TV. She has a lot of one-liners, but she's like, hitmen don't do layaway. And she's like, that was extortion. That was the best he could come up with. He's a doctor, But people are hooked on this case, and I had people for a month before Charlie's trial. Please do the Adelsons, and I knew everybody was covering it. I was like, it's 10 years old. It's a lot to dive into, but man, when I watched that first 2020, I was like on the computer, just trying to get everything I could learn, and I'm still just nowhere near done. Trying to get some more calls. Around 100 hours, I've been told. So I'm waiting on an answer for that. And then also, I got an email about some transport footage of Donna from Miami to Tallahassee that I'm trying to get my hands
Ooh.
on. So that should be interesting. She may not have talked, but we will see.
I mean, even if it's just video of her, I mean, I would be interested to see how she's reacting, you know.
Watching Miami just slowly fade away, out the
Yeah, and just
window.
sitting
And
there, like, is she just staring out? I mean, there we'll be able to see, is she medicated? Is she not?
I know
Um,
that Lori Vallow, when they transported her from Idaho to Arizona, it was funny because the people that rode with her in a very, very nice way said she was very talkative. Like, I would have probably, like, opened the door and thrown myself on the highway at some point if I had to listen to her talk for, 12 plus hours. But, some people get chatty and stuff like that. I hear a lot of people get car sick being transported because you're shackled, you're cuffed, you've got the cages over the windows. Sometimes you can't see out very easily. People that are being transported, like my contact when she was extradited, or no, after her sentencing and she was sent to prison, they put her in like a Con Air style enclosure in there due to the
oh,
fact that she was
interesting.
convicted of murder. Now, she didn't physically
Yeah.
murder anybody. It was an after the fact thing where she got involved and she caught the murder charge. But she said, you would not believe the number of people on that transport bus that threw up because you can't see out well and you can't get up and move and you're
When you
shackled,
don't know where
bolted
you're
to the floor.
going. Yeah,
Yeah, I get
and
car sick going
you're
like to
sitting
the local
sideways, aren't
Wendy's.
you?
What's that?
I mean, are you sitting sideways? I'm trying to
No,
visualize.
it's kind of a bus, if you could think like a school bus that's for prisoners, there's like
Oh, yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah, yeah,
bars
I've
or
seen
that
yeah, I've
that
seen the
mesh,
transport
but in
buses.
the back, some of them have these Con Air cages where if somebody just has violent charges that they've been convicted of, they put them in there. There was that time, it was a few years ago, where two inmates took over the bus and shot and killed the two deputies that were driving, and so I know that security really vamped up on these buses after that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard car sickness is a big, big deal, but she's in general population now. You have to wonder if she made any friends or is she, is she gonna start micromanaging the prisoners' lives? That's what I wanna know. Is she gonna start bossing these prisoners around and telling them what to do?
Well, that's what's interesting is, I mean, we were just watching a prison show the other day, and like, they were talking about how everyone has to hone in on what skill and what talent and what value you bring, especially in Gen Pop. And I wonder what that is for her.
Yeah, but, I do know that there is a certain code within the prisons that people that are of a certain age, they're not really targeted, but you can make yourself a target really quickly with your attitude. So they may see Donna as this little old lady in Gen Pop, but if Donna's mouth doesn't match this, then Donna can just create her own problems. Maybe she's quiet. Maybe she has found somebody else who is of similar age to talk to, but it's a jail. And Leon County jail's not huge, I don't think, so I'm curious, man. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Maybe I should go get busted in Leon County and like just a misdemeanor enough to get in there one night. You guys could get my bail and send me some commissary money, and I'll do some recon for STS and Pretty Lies. I'll be friend Donna. Like, what's up, Donna? What you in for?
Gigi, people keep asking who the guest is. I don't know if I'm the guest or if you're the guest.
We're both guests. No, you're the wife. Come on, man. You're like co-owner of STS. I'm the guest. I'm Gigi. I'm gonna
Christine
catch
is
a charge
asking,
for y'all. Yeah.
but I think this is one of your friends here. Christine is asking, what does the COE stand for? It stands for the chief of everything. Joel made this term up. I am Joel's wife. Joel is usually the host of this show. I hijacked this and told Joel I was going to do a quick 10, 15-minute live with Gigi. And he was like, okay. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we're going to wing it. But yes, I am the COE, chief of everything, AKA just Joel's wife and baby mama of 3 kids.
Guess what I'm doing today, by the way, Co?
Yes.
I am sending Charlie Adelson a copy of Ruth Markel's book.
Oh, are you?
From Amazon, yes. I've got to push the button on it, but I was laughing on my last episode and said maybe I would send him a copy of Wendy's book, and then I thought, how about Ruth's book? I'm gonna send it to him because he'll get it. Like, they'll just open it up, make sure I don't have any, like fentanyl in there for him or anything like that. But I'm gonna send him Ruth Markel's book, so I thought that'd be a nice welcome to prison gift.
Well, and some people were asking, there were tons of comments, which, as you guys know, I obviously cannot multitask as well as I thought I could. A lot of people were asking whether or not you are going to write to Charlie or to anyone.
I don't think so. They're going to tell their story the way they want you to hear it. Nobody in prison's guilty. Everybody's been there, because of a huge mistake. But I don't know. Lori Vallow did write me asking for money for her media account 3 times, and so I bit and I said, "All right, look. So how it is my contact moved off of JPay, which is a big prison-wide system. They have tablets, they have all the things, but they moved to another company. So I had all these credits on JPay to write her like $20 worth of stamps. So I get this email from Lori Vallow on JPay, and I'm like, all right, I'll bite. So I write her back, and I was like, I was at your trial, blah, blah, blah. And listen to this. She conned me, man. She took my stamps, didn't respond. I got scammed by Lori Vallow while she was in solitary. I did not have that on my bingo card for 2023 at all.
Well,
I told
that's the
Kate
thing too.
Woodcock, who's Lori's ex-sister-in-law, and that they were just dead. They were laughing. They were like,
Did
yeah, and
you
I was telling her brother too. Or her uncle. I said, I sent her stamp. She didn't write back. He was like, that's so funny.
Well, and did you have to reach out numerous times before she got back to you, or she immediately got back?
She never got back to me. She sent and she added me on JPay
Okay.
because the only contact that I had was the person that I know. And so I had an invite. Lori Vallow wants to connect. So I was like, okay, cool. Forgot about it for months. Go back on and I see 3 messages from Lori Vallow. And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. So I open it up and it's just like, hey, I need funds for my media account. So I didn't fund her media account. I just transferred the stamps that I had because I don't need them anymore. And I said, hey, right back, just we can chew the fat. I told her who I was, told her friends with Kay, I know your brother, I know your uncle, and and she didn't write me back. So whatever. I'm still waiting.
And when you
listen, at her trial in Arizona, I'm gonna stand up and be like, I want my stamps back, lady. You scammed me. I'm gonna stand right up in open court. Give me my stamps.
And Gigi, when you send the book to Charlie, is it just the book?
Yeah, well, you could put a little note in there. So I'm gonna think of something to say and just stick that little note in there and be like, welcome to prison. You got time to read it. And next time I'll send you your sister's book. I actually do have a copy. A listener found it at like a Goodwill and sent it to me. So I'm thinking about maybe like snail mailing him that. Although these days you typically can't just send packages to prisoners. It has to come from a company like Amazon or something like that due to how creative people can be with putting drugs in packages. You know, like you can't it has to be like an electronic stamp. And in Florida, actually, if you get snail mail, they're scanning it now and you can go to a kiosk and print it out. So it's not like,
This
mail
is interesting.
call and everybody steps out of their cell and gets their letters. Now it's all digital just to cut down on the drugs coming in and out, which always blows my mind. How do you get all these drugs in prison?
But you know what? I didn't even realize it was that easy to send something to someone in prison. I mean, so anyone can send anything.
You can. There are certain so I'll have to look and see what Florida uses for like they call them quarterly packages. So every quarter you can send it's either a dollar amount or maybe like 240 ounces total for the whole package. There's a limit. And it goes through a company. You can send like Adidas shoes, you can send TVs, you can send radios, personal hygiene, food, all kinds of stuff, art stuff. And then most prisons will accept packages that come directly from Amazon. So you can go on Amazon, order something, you put in their address as if you were writing them a snail mail letter, and it gets to them.
You were
You can say hello.
Yeah, you can say hello. It's your show. Joel wants to say hi. Just so you know,
Joel,
you walked by.
what's up, dude? We're
What's
holding
up,
down the
dude?
fort.
Was it a towel?
You
Hello,
walked, yeah,
everyone.
I don't know what you were in, but I think you had just hopped out of the shower.
I want to come on live just to ask Gigi. I'm going to see you at 5:00 today.
Yeah, you are.
Cannot wait.
Joel, hold on, wait. I have a comment for you.
I have a question for you.
Me?
Yeah, and for how many?
Send a TV. I'm gonna send a
Awesome.
busted TV. I'm gonna send one of those prison TVs with a crack in the bottom for Charlie.
Okay, this is on the record.
COs?
I do have a new appreciation for you because I've only pulled up maybe 4 comments in the last almost hour.
Hmm.
So I give it to you. I give it to Gigi and other people on YouTube. It's a lot harder than it looks.
The COE is carving a new path in more than one way. Can I tell you how?
I'm nervous.
Is everyone hearing me?
I'm nervous. This is live. Just be
Yeah.
careful with what you say.
First of all, I'm very proud of her that she is now hosting. That will eliminate.
I'm just a guest.
That will ease the burden on me. Number 2. That's number 1. Number 2.
Watch what you say.
I have a question for the greater
Makes me
audience
nervous.
right now. I have a question for everyone.
I'm in sweatpants.
We live in Miami. I know it's not the time of year where most people are watering their lawns, but for some reason, the COE, it appears, has been watering our lawn for the last day. And the irony is that
Wait, what do you
we
mean?
have artificial grass on that section. I just went out there and it's about 8 inches deep in water. The hose has been running, and
Okay,
Ethel
chewed the hose.
is
Joel.
rolling around in 8 inches of water,
Joel, I asked you to
watering
turn that
our
off yesterday.
artificial grass. So the hose has been running for how long? How long? I have COVID.
18 hours.
That's all. That's all. Gigi, I love you. That's a look into
Okay, but did she chew
Feel
the hose?
better, dude. She's just making a little swimming pool for the puppy. Come on now.
My wife has been watering artificial grass for 18 hours. I want
To
that
be
to
fair,
sink in.
Ethel pees there every day, so it needed to be washed. I'm not
There you
even
go.
regretting my actions.
She's
I feel like
irrigating.
it's the right choice. The
18
water has now
hours.
hosed down all the urine.
18 hours.
All
I'm
the
going
urine
to
is gone.
post my water bill. 18 hours. This is now devolved from. Please tell us that's not a delivery of our.
No.
Okay. There's only so much I can handle, guys. I have to go. Really, just take a little break until the podcast.
No one asked you to be here.
And I only see half. Is there a reason you don't use a real microphone?
I have no equipment, Joel.
By the way, I've been spending the day trying to figure out how Carm and I can voice track our book. And
Gen X Granny says, I bet the fake grass looks gorgeous. I'm sure it does. It's going to be great.
yeah, it looks wonderful. It kind of looks like algae underneath the ocean water is what it looks like right now.
Wait, did you shut the water off though?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And then Ethel got so scared she fell into the pool running away.
Yeah, I'm
fair,
not
she
paying for
does love
Wendy's
to
book,
swim.
by the way. That was sent
Yeah.
to me by somebody who found it at Goodwill. I would never pay for that book. No worries. But I will pay for Ruth's book.
Joel,
Oh,
did you
what
say
was that?
bye?
Oh,
You just like walked away.
I'm in a fog of COVID. Bye, everyone.
All right, go get some
I got to
rest.
get people.
Okay, but also your face.
No, I want to show them the
Oh.
hat, but we need to get a new merch store together. I don't like the merch store. All right.
Okay, okay, we're live. We can talk later. All right, Gigi, do you see what I deal with?
Oh, yeah. I do. You know, men come out, they're sick, and then they come out and complain about something. See, I'd have just chucked something at him and been like, go back to bed. I'd have grabbed like the nearest object. Shut up about the water. The dog is loving it.
I love that he was like, I can't
So,
stay
yeah,
here.
it's going to be,
I'm like,
we'll see
go.
what happens. Yeah, I'm going to give it a few weeks. I'm going to put in for Donna's Leon County jail records now that she's in Gen Pop. So I'm going to wait probably till about the second week in February. What I got last time from Miami was very small. It wasn't a lot at all. Just had her charges and then pictures of her hair ties that she was brought in with. But I'm going to give it a couple of weeks, see what she can get into. And then I'm going to try to get her Leon County jail records. But I like doing that. I'm going to start doing that for some other cases I've covered. I want to get Caitlin Armstrong's, the one that went to Costa Rica, got the facelift and all that. I did get sent some pictures that were shown in court of her before, during, and after her procedure when she was healing up. It's just, that's such a crazy story to me. But this one's crazy. You know, you think about it, it's like, and I always say this, but it's almost like they thought these kids were going to be 3 and 4 forever and would always need them. And, you know, on one of those hot mic calls, Donna gets very emotional and says, oh, the boys don't need me. They have friends now. Okay, that hurts, or something like that. This, like, the kids grow up. So now as these kids have reached this level of independence, they're all going to prison for the rest of their life. And you have to wonder, was it worth it? I mean, no, of course it wasn't, because first and foremost, Dan Markel was shot and killed for absolutely the dumbest reason ever. People don't think about the burden they put on these kids when they do this. You know, when they kill in the name of custody, you are giving this kid such a burden to know that a parent was taken away on their behalf. You know, it's just so heavy. And, but yeah, I just think it's ironic that now when the boys don't need Donna and Harvey and they could be traveling to Vietnam without getting caught at the gate, she's traveling to Leon County behind some bars. So that always blows my mind. You know, there was that huge murder in Ohio that the last trials happened in this year. It was the Wagners, a family of 4, killed 7 members of the same family and then a fiance that was about to marry into that family in one night over a 3-year-old kid. 8 members. It was like 3 generations wiped out. And now the kid, mom was murdered, dad's in prison for the rest of his life, grandpa are in prison, uncle's in prison. I think she's been adopted. So it's like these plans stink. I mean, for obvious reasons.
Honestly. Gigi, in every case, and I'm actually watching it on the TV right now. We have the Michelle Troconis trial live right now on our new channel that is only 4 trials. But that's what kills me in that case with Jennifer Dulos. In this case, in all of these cases, the people that really suffer are the kids. And, you know, obviously you're a mom. I'm a mom to 3 little kids. I just cannot imagine doing something that is so permanent and that will ultimately end up hurting the kids, because that's who suffers.
Right. And not only with Ben and Lincoln, you think about it. I mean, regardless of what we think about the Adelsons, I mean, that's who they've been raised around every day of their life. So they've lost their dad. And then, you know, it's hard enough to get to the age they're at, which is those early teen years where they really, you know, need that dad figure in their life. And then grandma's gone, Uncle Charlie's gone, mommy could be gone, grandpa could be gone. I mean, and then what do they have? If Wendy gets arrested, like, what are they going to go with Harvey? Because you know they're not going to send him to the Markells. She's not going to be like, let
That's
me
what's so
arrange
sad.
for you to go to Canada, which would be the best thing for those boys is to go to another country and just have a fresh start.
Well, and that's what's so sad in this case. And obviously, they're older now. And by the time everything gets settled, they'll be even older. So it could be, who knows what's going to happen. But either
Yeah.
way, I think the difficult part is that no matter what, they lose. They've already lost so much. They're only losing more,
Yep.
regardless of whether or not Wendy gets indicted. They've already lost their family.
Oh, yeah.
Wendy can't be the mom that they need her to be,
No. No, it takes a village.
regardless of everything else. I'm not saying, she's innocent. I'm just saying, regardless of everything that we know, if she's indicted or not, those
Yeah.
boys have still lost everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just yeah. It's I mean, I have friends who lost parents at a very young age due to heart attack, accidents, things like that. It is just something that affects them still as adults on a very, very deep level. And then as these boys grow older and learn things on their own about this crime and about why and who and that kind of stuff, who knows? It's just going to be something that they will bear the brunt of more than anybody else associated with this case, more than Charlie sitting in prison for the rest of his life. Donna's headed that way, it seems. But really, the boys and Charlie's son, are the biggest
So
victims other
he's
than
young.
the Markells, obviously, but the kids, it's just like, man, I mean, I don't envy Bree, because she's got to raise this kid now with the question of why is daddy in prison? You
Well,
know,
and this is the thing with Charlie's son. He's the exact same age as my son. These are tiny little kids, and they don't want any of this. They don't know what's going on. I mean, they were just born into this. It's
right.
not their fault. Like,
Yep.
he's a 4 or 5-year-old kid.
And I
Uh,
think Bree was telling him that daddy was at work, like that daddy was just at work, which I understand you say something till you figure out what you gotta, maybe as he grows older, it doesn't become important. And then all he remembers is talking to daddy on the phone. But, it seems like they did have a good relationship, at least before he got arrested. They were going out and stuff, and Charlie talked about on the phone call, taking a video when they were all out to eat because he just kinda knew in the back of his mind this was very important to, like, document this moment. So, it's not the little guy's fault, that his dad took a father away from his 2 boys forever. But yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Bree because, at the end of the day, that's still a human being, a little dude, sweetest little voice. He sounds like he loves his daddy and just doesn't know what his dad did or what his dad is capable of, and it's just very sad, man. The kids always get me, you know?
yeah, no, the kids get me. And I mean, we obviously cover all these cases, and even before this, I mean, you as a journalist and us in TV news as well. Sometimes it's sad because you do get numb to these stories, and some of them are very familiar. And you cover when you're out there covering it as a journalist, you are a little distant to the story because otherwise it gets too emotional for you. But I will say, now that we've been covering it more from the podcast angle, more Joel, I'm just behind the scenes. What hurts me is just thinking about the kids, seeing the images, knowing how much life they're missing out on with their loved ones
Yeah.
because of their decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the worst part, and like you say about the kind of the desensitizing. Yeah, I mean, you do that because it's heavy stuff what we deal with every day. But man, it still gets me. But I'll tell you, the Valo trial. I'm posting a link here. Somebody asked for my links. I'm gonna put that there. Every link I have is in there. Um,
Okay,
but
cool. We've been posting your link as well. In
thanks.
general, we always post your link and we share and
Yeah,
we love
but
Gigi. So please follow
with
her, everyone.
with Valo, and I've said this many times, and after seeing those crime scene photos of JJ and Tylee,
Oh my God.
I was yay close to going to therapy when I got home because on one hand, I'm close with Kay and Larry Woodcock, and they've shared things about their life with JJ. It gives it a lot more of a personal effect. Sometimes these people seem so far away, they seem still because we only see pictures for the most part, but when you hear that voice and you see the motions and, that's a living, breathing human, you see on a video, yeah, I struggled really, really hard after that trial for a few weeks. I couldn't sleep well. And you know, for me, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, what was he thinking in those last moments? I mean, this is people he loved and trusted, and he saw they were hurting him. And I just could not get that out of my head. But yeah, it does. And that's why sometimes I'll go a couple of days and not do an episode. I used to be bad about cranking out episodes 6 days a week. But, it's just gotten to the point in the last few months, just I've been tapped out
Well,
emotionally and
it's heavy,
physically,
very heavy.
and so I've learned to kind of just say, you know what, I'm not up to doing an episode today. That's pretty cool. I'm just gonna hang out with my dogs during the day till my kids get home or take my Grammy shopping, but it does. And because you go from one tragedy to another with each case you cover. And they're all unique in their how tragic they are. But it does, and then you think about investigators, crime scene investigators, what they see every day.
Yeah.
None of these guys can
Like
go home and turn that off. It's given me so much respect for crime scene investigators and people that walk into first responders, ambulance, firemen, the first ones to get there. And there was a local case here a few years ago, Victoria Rose Smith. She was beaten to death by her foster mother. She was about to be adopted by this family. I know one of the first responders that rolled up there. He said that kid looked like she had been hit by a car. That's how bad they beat her, or this woman beat her. It was Ariel Robinson. She was on like a Worst Cooks in America. She was like a reality TV, fleeting fame. It's like a roller coaster. You're up and then you're down. I really think that Ariel wanted to further her reality stardom and try to do. She was posting all these pictures on Instagram of this very blended family, and but ultimately, beat the kid so bad that the fireman had to go into therapy. And so I talked to them, how do you turn it off? He's like, we don't turn it off. We just go to the next call because somebody needs help. But, the ones with kids are the ones that stick. And the ones with adults, nothing to shake a stick at. It's not like I see a crime scene photo of an adult that's been murdered and say, no big deal. I always think, what were they thinking in those last moments? Like the terror that they must have been feeling. Ugh.
That honestly, I can't even think of that. And working in news, I haven't worked in news in a while. And quite honestly, I abruptly quit 2 years ago because it was a lot for me. And I had 3 little kids. And I remember when the mass shooting happened in Texas at an elementary school with kids the same age as my kids. And the network that I was a network correspondent, and the network that I was working for at the time was asking who could go to cover the story. And I was just thinking, I'm like, I cannot be sent to this. Like, I can't handle it. Just hearing the news, I was hysterical. I was sobbing, and I'm not someone that's overly emotional, and I just could not get it together. And honestly, for me, that was a big moment. And from that moment on, I was like, I don't know if I can distance myself anymore as a
Yeah.
journalist. I
And
don't want to be
motherhood does
showing up to
that.
these scenes. Like that really, really hit me. And I
Yeah.
remember Joel and I covered um Sandy Hook, but that was before we had kids. But I will say now it is very hard. And Andy's asking, how do we process the pain? For me, it was really hard the last few years of working in news to cover those stories and to be distant and to be covering these awful cases at such a close distance. I mean,
Mhm.
you're interviewing the family members, you're seeing the kids, you're going to the crime scenes. It was a lot for me, and I eventually quit the day of another shooting, and I was like, I can't do it. Like, I have my own kids, I have my own mental health. I have to be strong and healthy for my kids. And I was like, it's just way too much for me to take on anymore. So,
Yeah.
Gigi, for you and everyone else that is still in it, people don't realize how intense it really can be.
It is intense, and but the thing for me though is it's kind of a resolve for me to keep doing what I'm doing to get the stories told and to just kind of follow that road to justice, because these people that we cover, I mean, look, deaths are tragic, whether it's a car accident, whether it's a drowning. I mean, I've lost people in crazy ways that were just accidental. There's something about a murder to know that somebody chose to take that person out of this world. If it weren't for this person would be up are doing their thing. Murder's just got that thing for me where it's like all deaths are tragic when it's unexpected, but like the choice that somebody makes. Like what haunts me is the Rachel Morin case. They don't have a suspect for that. She was killed on that mom padre in broad
Another
daylight.
mom of 5, by the way, 5
Yeah,
kids
right.
without a
Kids
mom.
just left without a mother. And, but that monster's still walking around out there. And there's a lot more like him. So it's like for me, since I started doing this, my 12-year-old, she does not walk around the block. We live in a safe neighborhood still. Sorry. And it gets on her nerves. She's like, you're just a podcaster. Like you see the worst and the worst. And I'm like, yeah, but if something happened, yeah, it makes I think in that way, I'm worse as far as how clingy I am with my kids because you just wanna protect them, but really, at the end of the day, all we can do is hope and pray we're just not a statistic, that we don't meet evil face to face because a lot of times it's either somebody a lot of times murders are just people or you do get that random, white van creepy dude, but, it's not as common as it used to be. You think about Athena Brownfield, I think it was at Texas, the FedEx driver that just saw her
Yeah.
and killed her. It terrifies me. So sometimes I just have to kinda shut that part of my brain off and just blast some music and get my mind going somewhere else or, it's just too crazy. Belgium, that's awesome.
Yeah, Belgium. As Joel
Yeah,
says, this is a global show. So thank you to everyone for being here.
yeah.
I apologize. I didn't pull up any comments, Gigi. I
Oh,
swear to
that's a look, you're winging it and you did good. I've been reading some. It is hard when you're talking and like I'm trying to keep my thoughts, but then, like the right side of my brain's like, let me read comments at the same time. But you know
Yeah.
what's weird for me? Okay, so this is crazy. This is something I don't think I've ever put out there, but I have this weird thing I can do. So let's say that I'm covering a trial and like I'm listening to testimony. I've got one AirPod that's tied to my computer and I'll have the other one on my phone with music. So like I'll have trial and music in one ear and it's weird because, like, my brain can totally hear both.
But you know what? It's because in news, we're used to listening, we're speaking, and then we're also hearing IFB. So I feel like your body is trained for that because I can do things like that too. But right now, like I like to make eye contact. So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm trying to make eye contact with you, but I'm trying to look at the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Forget everything that starred. I'm like, yeah, screw it. I'm like, I
Yeah, I
can't.
probably look like I'm having seizures on my episodes because I've got stuff here, and I'm sure my eyes are just, like, glitching or at least looking like they're glitching, but yeah, so this was fun.
This was
I'll be
honestly, Gigi, thank you so much. Guys, I texted Gigi and was like, hi. I'm like, it's Joel's wife. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Yeah, I
hopping
had a
on.
blast.
And
You guys have
yeah,
awesome listeners or watchers or both now because 'cause you're doing the podcast version, but I always love being on, and I'll be back at 5. We're talking about my day in Murdaugh yesterday, which was the Hot Mess Express. Whew.
yes, yes. And I just want to remind everyone that there is a live show tonight at 5 p.m. here on the main channel. If you are interested in watching the Michelle Traconis trial live, we do have that live on our other channel, which I did not pull up the graphic, but that's Surviving the Survivor Trials. You can also find it if you go to our channel and click on our second channel. You can literally click on a link that will take you there. I also want to remind everyone quickly that on Sunday, Joel and Carm are interviewing Mitch Albom. They're doing a special, I believe, at 5 p.m. Eastern time this Sunday. And then what else? Oh, really quickly, in case you didn't know, Joel did a thing. He wrote a book. So you can always pre-order his book. We're going to promote it for many, many, many more months. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up and share all of that with you. I also wanted to thank everyone for being here, all of our mods who are all amazing. I am going to name them: Gen X Granny, Copper Horse, Frankie Figs, Shaquille O'Neal, and the meme queen, I am not T-Pain. I also want to thank Space Coast, who is amazing and does all the things. And then I want to thank Joel for showing up.
And reminding you you
Don't
forgot to cut
I'm
the
like, I'm
water
showing up
off.
shirtless. He didn't realize.
You should go turn the
It's
water off just to make him mad. He's sick. He can't chase you too
I'm
far.
like, we discussed turning the water off yesterday. Don't get me started. But to be fair, our fake grass did need to be cleaned. Ethel pees there 100 times a day. I'm like, we have real grass in the front.
That's
Like,
funny.
she can go there, but don't get me started on this, Gigi.
Hey, Miss Chewy, love you back. Love all y'all. I'm gonna get my Murdoch episode done, and then I'll see you guys at 5 back here.
All right. And guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Pretty Lies and Alibis. This is a fabulous Gigi. We adore her online, but also in real life.
Yes,
right,
and
guys.
what was that oatmeal username? That was hilarious.
Shaquille Oatmeal.
Y'all have the best. And then I'm not T-Pain, and yeah, so funny. All right, guys, I better get back to work. See y'all at 5.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Oh, wait. I'm supposed to play this. Okay, this froze. I'm worse than Joel. I cannot
So
believe
I'll just
this.
sing a little song on our way out.
I'm just ending this. All right. Bye, everyone.
Don't do a hot mic. Those are bad.